In a city where weird is celebrated, it's understood that some things should be normal, like the Austin Code Compliance Department.
There hasn't been any complaints until this April.
Matthew Palmer believes a mistake Austin Code made is not only weird.
It's frustrating, absolutely.
Palmer bought this camper about 4 years ago. He keeps it in his front yard, which is legal if he follows city code. When a neighbor filed a complaint,
I went ahead and built the fence.
His first fence building attempt to screen the camper from public view came up short.
They came by, they said that wasn't going to fly.
I'd gone
to right here.
He made changes after a couple meetings with a code compliance officer and a supervisor.
They just wanted me to build a panel on the back side of the trailer and then a panel closing up the gap.
And you did that?
Here, I did.
$750 later, case closed. It says so right here on the city paperwork. But months later, another complaint brought a new code compliance officer with more changes.
He told me that this fence wasn't acceptable. And I said, well, it's been accepted by a supervisor. And he said, well, that person's not my supervisor.
That was a mistake a year ago.
KEYE-TV took Palmer's concerns to the director of the Code Compliance Department, Carl Smart.
The notice of the violation was issued based on his interpretation of the code. How can a code inspector have a different interpretation? How can one interpret something one way and one interpret something another way?
Unfortunately, it does happen sometimes. Looking at the code with two different sets of eyes, that can happen.
Smart admits his officers need to enforce the code consistently. But we wanted to know, how can there be inconsistencies that cost people time and money?
If it was a mistake, why should he be held responsible?
As property owner, he's still responsible for what happens on his property.
In an email, Austin City Council member Chris Riley wrote, in part, Austinites ought to be able to rely on the directions of code officers, and the city needs to do better at ensuring that mistakes like this don't happen.
We're working now on putting together a retraining for our inspectors to make sure that we've got good, consistent enforcement of this type of issue across the city.
Until then,
they came and hammered a stake out where you're standing, posting that I was in violation and giving me 7 days to be in compliance.
Or what?
I think the next step is court.
At the moment, Palmer is left with either fixing the fence, requesting a variance through the city's Board of Adjustment, or taking the matter to court. Since I started looking into this, I've heard many reports of similar situations. If this happened to you, head to our website and let us know. Adam Rakusin, KEYE-TV News.